Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this live stream. In this essay, I'd like to compare the first 9 months of this Biden administration to the first 9 months of the Trump administration. And particularly, I'd like to focus on the activities of the law enforcement area, the Department of Justice, the Attorney Generals, FBI, that sort of thing, and just compare the two. Now, we need to understand that there's a lot of people out in legal practice now that perceive that the law is a device to bring about social change, to shift power and move power around within society. The law is not facts. It's not accuracy. It's not due legal process, the rule of law. That's all bullshit, according to the activists. If you've got control of the legal mechanism, use it to get what you want. And if you've got to break the law and you've got to, bust down doors and tear down fences, do it. The law is there to be used as a club, a device, an instrument of social change. And if you've got that power in your hands, use it. Now, we saw this with Eric Holder in the Obama days. And this sort of real attorney general activism, I think, really began during the Obama era, and we're seeing it now with Biden. Now, irrespective of the merits of what they're doing, and I disagree with pretty much all they're doing, by the way, but irrespective of the merits, they're out there, they're active, they're doing things, they're identifying what they want to do, they're going for it, and they're doing it actively, and they're not fussed about the law, they're really charging in there. And how quick they respond. Not only are they chasing the issues that are important to them, or they perceive as important, or the globalists are telling them are important anyway, but they're also responding quickly. When the governor of Texas takes action to stem the flow of masses of illegal aliens coming in, bang, they've got it in front of a court and they're stopping it. And they're getting a ruling on it quick. They're making sure an activist judge gets to hear it, and bang, they've got a ruling. They get these emergency hearings in seconds flat. That the speed that they move is dazzling, and they're able to do it. And there's a lot of corruption involved in this, and so again, don't get me wrong. They've got to have a lot of corrupt players. They've got to get a tame judge. They've got to get tame district attorneys. They've got to line up a lot of doors, but they can do that. That activist infrastructure is all throughout the American legal system, or indeed the Western legal system. So they can do that, but nonetheless, the zeal that they go at it with, and when they're cornered, or if they do get any questions, remember the media are on their side and running cover for them, so they've got that advantage as well. But whenever they get dragged in front of, say, a Senate committee, they're unapologetic. They don't care. They don't give a shit. We've got the power. We're going to use it, and the rest of you can fuck off. And that's their attitude. But again, the energy they put into it, and the commitment to affecting change is something you have to, in a perverse way, you have to admire. Now, all it takes is a few parents to complain about critical race theory. Critical race theory is a critical plank of what the globalists want. It's to crush white kids at school and that sort of thing. So the globalists want it. They insist on it. So all you need is a few parents to complain about. Bingo, the attorney general's out there. You're terrorists. I'm sicking the FBI and the DOJ onto you. You go to the Capitol to protest an election you think was a little bit irregular, if not very irregular, and you're in prison. And the department, the attorney general, the entire apparatus of the justice system is coming after you, and they're going to crush you. They're going to get you. So that the energy, the resources, the time that they put into this, the speed that they move, and they're reasonably slick as well. They do line all the doors up. And they make sure that it's they can take it all in a single pass. And again, you got to admire that in them, that commitment. As wild-eyed and crazy and destructive and full of bullshit it is, you have to admire that. Now, they're ideologues, and they've got the fire in their belly that ideologues tend to have. So that's the speed that they're moving at there. And really, anything happens that they don't like, they're sicking the FBI onto you. They're prepared to use that and to exploit every opportunity they get. So there's that. Now let's compare the first 9, most of which was Jeff, if not all, was Jeff Sessions. Now Jeff Sessions, as far as I can tell, was a good man. He had principles and he had morals, and I think he was a good man, and I think he understood the law, and I think he understood what needed to be done. But there was none of this fire in their belly. It was pedestrian by contrast. And if they tried to do something and it got knocked back by some bullshit court of, the Ninth Circuit Court and all this, then they didn't seem to know what to do. They were like in a quandary, sort of wandering around, bumping into things, and their responses were slow and clumsy. And I had a look at, it's online, some of it, look at the documents they put up to overturn, say, a court case they lost, and it looked like it was put together by some first year law student, and not a very good one at that. Their work was sloppy. It was slow. They just didn't seem to. They seemed to be permanently on the back foot. When I saw Jeff Sessions being interviewed by the media, he seemed like a guy that they were just slapping him around from one end of the podium to the other. He didn't seem to know what day it was half the time, and he just seemed to be just out of his depth. All the pressure and the strain. And when the Russiagate thing came along, he went. He seemed to get just sucked into that. All these sharp New York Jewish lawyers just were running rings around him. He just didn't seem to know what to do. He didn't seem to have the people around him who could give him the advice. Maybe they were plants in there from the deep state that were you're trying to fuck him up as well, and I'm sure that went on. There didn't seem any guidance coming out of the White House from the chief of staff, and I'd have handled it completely differently, and wouldn't have backed off, and would have been chasing after some of these NGOs and some of these people that were playing major roles in bringing in illegals and doing all sorts of nefarious shit. I'd have gone after them with a vengeance. But using the law, it must be the law. Just because they do it and they break the law and they make the law up as they go along and skirt the edge of the law, doesn't mean you all have to do it. But if you've got the wherewithal to say, okay, this is a fight we've got to have, and these guys, Holder and others, they were itching for a fight. I mean, as Garland is now. Come on, take us on. We've got the entire resources of the federal government to fight you with. So you think you're actually going to win? Yeah, right. Now, if you look at the amount of cases that were launched against Trump or his policies, there were literally the guy couldn't turn sideways without some group coming up from somewhere. It could be an NGO or any activist group seemed to always have plenty of money and plenty of lawyers to chase down and oppose anything Trump tried to do. So and then again, Sessions just didn't seem to know what to do about that. He was always on the back foot, could never seem to get on the front foot and start making a change. A couple of times he looked like he was going to get on top of it, and then it all fell down again. There was that bullshit Russia investigation. I mean, he should have spotted the politics in that. So should the White House, by the way. They should have helped Sessions on this one, and they should have come out guns a blazing. Okay, corral, and really faced these bums down. If they'd done that, they'd have had a much easier time. As they can get Trump and his people on the run. If you really want to do it, you can get them on the run, and that wasn't done. And they had the opportunity, certainly for the first 2 years of the Trump administration. They had a majority in the Senate and the House, and they had the White House. They could have really gone after these folks and made their life just as much hell as they were making for Trump. So, if not more, because the resources of the government were in their hand, they could have then flushed out how partisan the DOJ and the FBI was, and they could have done some firing, just got rid of these people. Hey, whether you like the elected president or not, the Constitution says he's the guy in charge, and that's how it works. You don't get to pick whether you like someone or not and whether you enact their policies. That's not how it works. But if you want to take that view, that's fine. You go go and work for free, go somewhere else. But you know, you don't have a job here with that attitude. So there's a lot of things could have been done that weren't. But when you compare the first 9 months of Trump, it was almost paralysis compared to, not that they didn't try a few things, but again, whenever their first play fell over, that's it. They seemed to just sit on their hands and not know what to do next. Whereas you look at, you know, Garland and just the apparatus of state generally, the vigor and the effort, the energy, the resources they're prepared to put into getting their own way. Not that I agree with what they're doing, but just that commitment to doing it, they're just not put off. Their eyes on the ball and they're going for it, and that's the difference. And I think if and I hope very, very much and fervently hope that Trump ends up back in the White House and the Republicans take a majority in the House in the midterms, and I hope this time they don't fuck it up and they go for it, because they need to. The country is depending on them. The American population is depending on them. Indeed, the Western world is depending on President Trump delivering on some of those promises that he was talking about in 2016 and doing it with you know, dash, elan and vigor. You've been with Tassos today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.